For the heroin taker, this tolerance is good news only for his dealer. More and more heroin needs to be injected to achieve the same effect. But the worst problem is not that the user must take increasing amounts of heroin, it's what happens a few hours after each hit. The body has become tolerant not only to heroin, but also to the naturally occurring endorphins. All the minor aches and pains that are normally dulled by endorphins are now free to persecute the conscious mind unchecked. The user begins to withdraw and starts to feel lousy. He's become tolerant of his own endorphins, and there's no heroin left to counter the effect. A vicious cycle begins. The more heroin you take, the more it hurts when you're not taking it. And pretty soon you're addicted. You feel bad under normal circumstances, and you remember how fantastic you felt when you were taking heroin. And if you can't obtain more heroin, you have to experience the cold turkey of withdrawal. You experience the very unhappy life of no endorphins. Thankfully, these cold turkey symptoms don't last forever. Once again, the body is able to adjust. This time the expectation adjuster works the other way and the endorphin levels produced by the body return to their original levels. The tolerance is removed and the brain restores its normal response to normal levels of endorphin. Life is inherently satisfactory. Heroin. Is it a friend or foe? Heroin is usually regarded as a very bad thing. If it could be eradicated like smallpox, it would be a great benefit to the human race, it is assumed. And yet, could it not be said that heroin is perhaps the conscious mind's best attempt at overcoming the slavery imposed by our genes? When used to control the excruciating pain of surgery or in terminal cancer patients, opiates such as heroin are without doubt some of our greatest friends. It's only when they get in the way of normal life that they become dangerous pariahs. But what are we trying to achieve in these normal lives that we cling to? We cherish our normal lives because we believe they make us happy. But what if we could live just as long lives, but instead of experiencing the fear, disappointment, sadness and boredom of normal life, we could experience the highs of heroin all the time? Would you take a happy pill? The future. Our hero, dishevelled but ruggedly handsome, emerges from the sewers of New York, where he spent 20 years living with mutant crocodiles. He discovers a world of horror. Machines have taken over the world. The entire population of humans are lying in coffin-shaped metal pods, electrodes protruding from their heads, wired up to silent computers. At first sight, and to the unheroic eye, they appear to be enjoying their incarceration. The unearthly noise hanging over the city is the sound of 1 million people quietly chuckling to themselves. As our dismayed hero moves swiftly from one tortured individual to the next, the chuckles escalate into uncontrolled giggles, culminating in blood-curdling gales of laughter. Our hero, his rugged brow, creased with the burden of being humanity's last hope, struggles to turn off the machines and free his fellow citizens. Tearfully, he greets his weakened comrades as they struggle from their cubicles and seize him passionately. But to his surprise, our conquering hero isn't borne aloft in gratitude. Instead, humanity seems to be more than a little upset with him. They seize him roughly, shave his head and pin him down inside his own little box. He struggles, he fights, but he is but one and they are many. As the electrodes bite into his skull, he grits his teeth and steels his mind to repel the horrific brainwashing he's about to experience. And it's working! His mental strength is too much for this simple machine. A triumph! The thrill of success courses through his body, a thrill like he's never felt before. He's at one with himself, a Renaissance hero after all. He can do anything he damn well likes. He is all-powerful and he chuckles with the joy of it all. As the chuckles escalate into delighted giggles, he realises he's free from the dark forces, free from the tyranny. Finally content, finally at the end of his journey, he barks with laughter as he discovered what it is to be truly alive. His fellow citizens shake their heads in affectionate amusement. Well, most of us had to try it before we believed it. They sigh as they hurry to their pods, quickly plugging electrodes back into their heads and cranking the power up to 11. Taking control. Is it possible that humans will one day conclude that the only thing that matters to them are the feelings experienced by their conscious minds? Not because they are selfish or badly brought up, but rather because they are built that way. Their conscious minds programmed by millions of years of evolution to pursue feelings of pleasure and satisfaction? Will they at the same time become painfully aware of the inherent weakness in the traditional method by which their conscious minds attempt to achieve this aim, realizing that no matter how much control they achieve over the world they live in, they'll be no closer to achieving satisfaction and contentment than their caveman ancestors? And will their minds turn to a new focus towards a technology that allows them to control the world inside their heads rather than their world outside? The perfect life? Ever dreamed of the perfect life? You've got homes around the world, a yacht in the Caribbean, and more sexy sports cars than you can count. You've just invented a cure for cancer, your friends are film stars, and you travel the world promoting charities for sick children. Not necessarily everyone's idea of a great way to live, but we all have our dreams. And the more optimistic we are, the more outlandish our aims, the less chance we'll ever get to live them. But what if, instead of actually living the dream, you could just enjoy how it felt? You don't actually own the yacht, but you feel just as good as if you did. The president isn't really on the phone for advice on foreign policy, but you feel the same sense of satisfaction as if he were. After all, who needs the actual experience? Surely all we need are the feelings that go with it. And now, ladies and gentlemen, thanks to the miracles of modern science, you too can experience the perfect life. Just climb up onto this hospital bed and we'll put the small drip in your arm and these rather comfortable electrodes into your head. No, don't worry, madam, you won't need a book to read. You can just lie there feeling better than you've ever felt before. No worries, no fears, no guilt, no pain, just perfect, unremitting bliss for the rest of your life. Would you do it? It's rare to find someone whose immediate reaction is, yes, of course I would. What else is life about? Most people think that they'll somehow get bored or that you can't get happy unless you deserve it. They think that taking a pill to get happy is a cop-out or a weakness that would inevitably lead to profound dissatisfaction. Very few people will be willing to give up all the things that are currently important to them, their children, their gardens, their sense of personal identity, in return for what appears to be meaningless, easy pleasure. Everyone's got an opinion about that hospital bed, and the answer is usually no thanks.